And good afternoon. I'm just going to jump on really quickly. I know you're in the middle of either heading to lunch or halfway through lunch, or you may be still working and not have lunch until later, or you may just be going to watch the replay. But I wanted to come on. It's Wednesday. And so I wanted to jump on for Writing Wednesday. And so let's just talk a little bit about why write. Why write? I have some events coming up, and I can say, yeah, you need to be there, but why do you need to be there? I always encourage authors to say why you need to have something, or why you need to be at some place, or why you need to attend an event, and why you need to be a part of it. And I know I didn't let you know that I was coming on, so don't worry. I just wanted to make sure that it was out there and available. So I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you had a fantastic Valentine's Day, no matter how you celebrated. That's left up to you. But I hope you feel loved every day, honestly. And so, really, I've been talking about for the love of writing, for writing, and now for many, many years. As you well know, earlier this month, I celebrated 15 years of being in business. BK Royston Publishing and Royal Media and Publishing came later, and the Book Business Bosses came even later, and that's just within the last 3 years. But I love it. I love it. So why write? Why write? Why write? Because you love it. That's really number one. I fell in love with writing probably 20 some years ago. Really almost, I guess it's almost 30 years. Next year it'll be 30 years from when I really started journaling. It's been like 30 years now, but 15 years is really active publishing, writing, all of that. So the past 15 years, it is just love. As a matter of fact, I'll just show you. This is the latest book, as authors know who distribute via Amazon. That band means it's not yet for sale, but it's coming up very, very soon. So Micah Loves Math, and that's coming up soon. I really want to encourage boys as much as possible, even though I didn't have a brother and I don't have a child. I really love it. So I really want to encourage children not only to read, but to not only be literate, but also academically astute. So taking it to the next level. So I write because I love it. I write because it's enjoyable to me. But I also write because other people enjoy what I write. It's one thing to write because you love it and you are the only one who understands it and you're the only one who gets it and gets the inside jokes. That's good for you privately, writing for your own private enjoyment. But when you're sharing something literally, you want it to go to the world, that's a totally different animal altogether. You're not looking at just what you enjoy, but you're thinking about the reader as you write. So, first off, I love it. Two, I have something to share. I have something that I see is needful in the market. I want to share what I know. So there's a lot of books that I've written based on the information that I know. And then I'm kind of an expert in it because after you've done something so long, you're not really considering yourself in an arrogant way as an expert. Oh, I'm an expert. No, that's not what I'm thinking about. It's just once you have experience with something and then people come to you and ask you repeatedly over and over and over again about something that you know something about, then you are considered an expert. So think about that. You may not write because you love it, the writing process, the creative process, but you write sometimes because there's something that you know that you can share. You're an expert at it. You've done it a long time. You've done it enough that you have an experience with it, where you work, what you do on the side, even if you consider it like a side hustle. Oh, this is just something I love. Yeah, but people ask you, can you make me one? I want to customize. Is there something you can do? I want you to come speak. Can you present that to my youth group? Can you present? Then you're going moving to a different level. That's a totally different level. That's not just I just do it in my privacy and I just do it because I love it. It's now taken on to another level. So I write number one because I love it. Two, I have something to share. And sometimes that sharing is because people keep asking me the same question over and over again because I'm considered an expert in it. Once you write one book, I'm going to tell every author who's ever thought about it or who's written one, and you can put it in the comments. Amen. I agree. But once you write one book, there's somebody out there that's going to ask you how you do that. So what did you do? So who's your publisher? So who did your editing? Who did your graphics? Who did the illustrations? Those illustrations are cute. So there's always going to be someone who's going to potentially ask you about things once you publish. But until that happens, if you're still thinking about the writing, I'm trying to give you some reasons why you should write, why you should be. And welcome, and be sure and share and tag other people because we're talking today about It's Writing Wednesday. Right. So number one, you love it. Number two, you have something to share. You have a story. We all have a story, but we have to make sure that it's presented in a marketable way, an interesting way, and a way that people will want to gravitate to it more than anything else. You're an expert in an area and you want to share your expertise. You want to speak about it. If you're a speaker or you've thought about it, I need to be on stage. I can share what I know. And people ask me to be on stage all the time. So there's things I know and things that I want to empower people with. So you're an expert. Just say that. Say that. Start repeating that over and over again in the mirror in the morning. I'm an expert at, and you fill in the blanks. So I consider myself an expert in. May not be the best at it. There's people who can do much better than me, gone further than me. Those words they put together, I'm like, ooh, I wish I could do that. But I'm an expert in what I do. I've done it a long time. I've made mistakes. I've had successes. I've now had awards, so other people recognize what I do. So I the writing, the publishing, and promotion process. I have a level of expertise. If that helps you better, saying I'm an expert might be a little difficult, but say I have a level of expertise. So, and then the final thing is, and I've alluded to it a little bit, but I want to come strong with it. There's a need to write. And when I say there's a need to write, there is a space in the market. There's room for growth in a specific market or industry area. So let me just say this. When you keep up with an industry, like I'm not a hairstylist, so I don't know the latest techniques and stuff in hair. I just know when I go to the expert to get my hair done or washed or trimmed, they know what they're doing because they keep up with that. I don't. But the publishing industry, the writing and seeing other coaches and other publishers and how they work, I keep up with that. So I realized that 4.5 years ago, even before I was retiring, but I realized there's a gap in the children's book market for African American children books, that they are the main character. That's probably the reason why, shameless plug, Mike at the Loves Math is going to come out, because there was a gap in it. But because of where I was in the school district where I was, anything related to what I do, children, education, literacy, empowerment, or any of that related to any parts of education would be considered work for hire. Well, y'all know I'm Julia Royston and I have control issues. So I'm like, no, nobody's going to take my intellectual property. So when I retired 4.5 years ago, I have been on my grind as far as children's books, because I don't get me wrong, I love books that have cute little animals. I'll publish them. I promise I will. But there's nothing like seeing a darker hued child who sees themselves in a book. There's nothing like seeing a biracial child light up when they see a child on the cover that looks like them. Representation does matter. I'll stand on that to the end of time. I will not criticize people who only use animals in their books because they're cute too. And people buy those too, no matter what the animal is. But there is still something said about taking the time. And I know it's sometimes, oh, I got to fight with that illustrator. And that's not the way I want the eyes to look. And I don't want the hair to be like that. But there is something very rewarding, because y'all know I travel from one end of the country to the next. There is something very rewarding about seeing a young reader see themselves on a book cover. And let me just tell you that as far as children's books are concerned, the child It's not really understanding fully what's going on in the inside. They see the cover and they want to have it. Unless it's something outside their reading range or something that's inappropriate for them, which I don't have many of those books except adult books, but adult fiction or romance fiction. But unless it's something along those lines, they see the cover, they want it. I promise you. I have done enough, as they say, field work to know that once a child sees a cover, sometimes they grab onto it and the parents are like, I can't get it out of her hands. I can't get it out of his hands. And I'm like, well, I mean, you won't. And here's how much it costs. But the need to write, there was a hole. And even today, it's still only about 11% African American children, main characters with an actual person on it, not an animal representation, but a person on it. So we're close to 11%. If I can get it to 15 to 20, I'm all right till my hands fall off because I really understand what the need is. So sometimes there's a certain area that when you go on Amazon and there's few books in that area, or, and I've had parents who say, I'm looking for books. I have a biracial son. I have a biracial granddaughter, and I don't really see a lot of those. I'm coming for you. I'm right for you. So there's a need in the market. There's a need in the industry. So let me just tell you, from what I've seen and what I've read right now, children's books and what I've sold, children's books and young adult books. You don't think about young adult books being kids that, they're just into video games. Not necessarily. Some of them do actively read and want to read. So children's books and young adult books are still very hot items moving. Okay. And those with diverse characters, either children, of course, of African American descent, Latino descent, Native American, Pan African, Asian descent, they are the smallest percentage with regards to children's book industry. So those are hot sellers. They fly off my table. I promise you. If there's people who come to the event, that's what they're going to buy. So the children's book and young adult books, I can, they move. Self-help always moves too as well. For people to do something to improve their lives, teaching someone how to do something to improve their lives, to make money, to look better, to feel better. Inspirational too, but it just all depends on inspirational where that goes. If it's inspirational more for a memoir, you have to work that a little bit differently for sales. But if it's inspirational, devotional still move. Those journals still move. People being able to journal and those affirmations and those types of inspirational things, they still move. They still go. But in order, the children's books go first. Things that'll help you business wise, personally wise, spiritually wise, those kinds of self-help, specific instructions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those go. And inspirational, devotionals, Bible studies, they go to as well. Now, the ones that you need a little bit more sales effort, that what I call in the workable category, are memoirs. Now, if you're a speaker, if you're a teacher, if you're in ministry, if you are in front all the time, you go live a lot, you talk about your story a lot, you're interviewed a lot, those memoirs will help. If you're taking not only just the memoir message and then moving it to coaching or having a retreat or having a workshop or doing something else like that, then memoirs will move because they're associated with a person and a message. Poetry, spoken word, you have to speak it, you have to say it. Sometimes the younger poets, of course, they're recording, they're going in the studio and recording their poetry, so it's coming out almost like a music project, but it's a spoken word project. Fiction, you have to build an audience just like you do memoir. So it takes a little bit longer because people are loyal to their fiction authors that they love. Oh, they're loyal to them. Whatever's next. Ooh, when is so-and-so getting ready to have? Oh, when is so-and-so getting ready to have out with their new one? They're loyal to what they love. So you have to build a love. You have to build a palette for it. you may have to give away, you may have to, there's a lot of tips that you have to do to focus if you're writing fiction, whether that's romance fiction, whether that's sci-fi, whether that's contemporary fiction, whatever that looks like. Whatever that fiction looks like, you have to build a palette. You have to build an audience. You have to find people who love what you write. So it's not necessarily just going to fly off the tables because they're going to be like, what's that about? Well, who is that like? What author have I read that I really like that that's similar to? And sometimes people love you and they meet you, the author, and then they take a chance on that. And sometimes I've given books away. People have bought enough for me on the table that I'm like, do you read fiction? Yeah, but try this and let me know what you think. And once they try it, they love it, they'll be back for more. Okay. So I hope that that really helps you with this Writing Wednesday. Those of you who are interested in writing, you reach out to me all the time, and I appreciate it. If you're interested in the publishing process, or you want to have get on my calendar for another conversation, go to talkwithroyston.com. I really feel like it is so important that as a people, especially African American people, that we leave a legacy for as much on to state what who we were as a people and what's in our hearts and whatever it's in our heads. Creativity is just, it's oozing out our fingertips, but making sure that we leave a legacy of the things, especially the creatives. We have it in music, we have it in athletics, but the other literary arts, the visual arts, we need to make sure that we have as much representation as possible. So if you have more questions, let's schedule a time. It's on Eastern time zone. That's the time zone I'm in. So schedule talkwithroyston.com and let's have a conversation. Now, coming up, I have opportunities for you to be in a class with me. So go to roystonclasses.com. I have a children's book, create great children's books, because there's a few guidelines. I mean, some people think, oh, whatever I can think of. There's a few guidelines that you really need, some guidance you need. So I have a create get great kids books 4-week boot camp that's coming up February 16th. So go to Royston Classes and register for that, or find out more information about that. And then coming up February 25th, speaking of children's books, but I have a writing workshop that's coming. Write that book now at the Impact Kids Boutique. It's from 1 to 3, and from 12 to 1 is going to be a kids hour. But after that, reading and snacks and cupcakes. As they say, we're going to sweep up the floor, then we're going to write some books. All right. So the bookbusinessbosstraining.com is where, or you can go to Royston Classes and register for that too as well. The Write That Book Now workshop in Lexington, Kentucky. So go to Book Business Boss Training, or go to Royston Classes and you can register for that. And then coming up on March the 11th, I'll be in Montgomery, Alabama with Dr. Vernette Nettles. We are co-hosting the Montgomery Book Fair and Writing Expo. It is March 11th. So go to her website, VernetteCnettles.com, and find out more information. Authors can still register to have their books at the book fair, and then stay for the writing workshop, or the entire day from I think we'll be there about 9:30 to 2 o'clock. So go to VernetteCnettles.com for her site. And then it's March Madness, y'all. Come on through. March 20th through the 26th, I'll have a pop-up bookstore in Jefferson Mall. So I'll kind of be a publisher in residence. I have books there available for sale, but I'll also be there, so you can feel free to stop by, speak to me. I'm right there in Center Court, right next to Dillard's, the pop-up bookstore in Jefferson Mall in Louisville, Kentucky. So if you can skateboard, and I'll have other authors there too, and I'll have more information about who's actually going to have their books in the bookstore. And if you still want information and you want your book in the bookstore there, go to roystonbookfestvendor.info. That's roystonbookfestvendor.info. A lot going on, a lot related to writing, a lot related to training, but I want to give an opportunity for you to get your books out of there, get them out of your head. You've been talking about it. And as old folks say, you've been fixing to, I'm fitting to, I supposed to a long time ago. Ooh, that prophet laid me out on the floor and said I was supposed to write, but that's been 10 years ago. That's been 5 years ago. That's supposed to be full COVID. What you waiting on? Come on, let's get that done and keep moving. So I'm Dr. Julia Royston. I hope that you are having a phenomenal day. Hey, love, how are you? And having a fantastic day and having a fantastic year so far. We're in February, but I've been on the move. God has provided for me and enabled the weather to make sure that I could slide through and get to events and get back home safely. And honey, I've been grateful about it. And thank you to Mr. Brian Royston, who's been alongside me, as they say, on the road again. So we have been just on the move. So look for us. Follow me on social media, of course. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And I've got more videos to post on TikTok. But reach out to me, talkwithroyston.com. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about your book, what you have in your mind, what you're thinking about writing, what you have, dedicated to your grandkids, or as they say, dedicated to Big Mama, who had you found journals later on. I've had that. Believe you me, when I say those kinds of things, you think, oh, she just making that up. No, boo. I've had all kinds of conversations. I found my mama's diaries. I found my mama's notebooks, Big Mama stuff. She had been writing. She been working on all the time. So reach out to me for all of my online stores and for all of my websites. Go to juliaakroyston.com. I hope you have a fantastic Wednesday and have a phenomenal rest of the week and enjoy yourself. You're ready to write? Reach out to me. Talkwithroyston.com. Be blessed. Have an awesome rest of the day.